Japanese scientists, man-made climate fear is now akin to ancient astrology. This is one of my favorite quotes, Frank Tipler, a physicist. Whether the ice caps melt or expand, whatever happens, the global warming theorists claim it confirms their theory. A perfect example of a pseudoscience like astrology. And that's where the global weirding comes in. That's where I feel it when I'm flying, Senator Stabenow. This is not a joke. Global warming causing women to become hookers in Africa. Women in her Malawi village are turning to prostitution because they can no longer make enough money from farming due to global warming. UN official, climate change pushes poor women to prostitution. These are their actual quotes. This is what the UN is peddling. And it's funny, but the developing world is being told, because we own SUVs and live a nicer life and we have running water and electricity, that their children are being forced to prostitution because every drought, flood, hurricane, storm, every act of God, we used to call it, but every act of nature is because of man-made global warming. It's a perversion of science. Why is Obama? This is just an AP photo just to show you the summit from last summer. I don't know. Okay. The video is less damning, although I think Sarkozy was guilty there. Okay. Controlling nature. At that summit where Obama was looking around there, Obama backed a historic breakthrough to agree to keep a goal of keeping the world's temperatures from rising no more than 2 degrees Celsius. You got that? World leaders, Western leaders, agreed to control the Earth's thermostat. It prompted the UK scientists to say as if the climate's controlled by a dimmer light switch that can be twiddled up and down at the whim of pompous politicians. At the same time Obama was there at the summit, the tribes in Uganda were blaming calamities like drought on the angry gods. And the All-Africa media said, little do these poor villagers know their area is suffering the consequences of a larger problem, climate change. So here's the question, who needs to be educated? And which is more plausible? Ugandans blaming drought and disease on angry gods, or more educated Western leaders believing they can control the Earth's thermostat? This is the level of absurdity we've reached. It gets more absurd. At the same time Obama was pledging to control the Earth's thermostat with the other politicians, naked farm girls were plowing fields in India in an ancient ritual to embarrass weather gods to bring about badly needed monsoon rain. They were chanting hymns to invoke the gods. So the question is, who's more likely to affect and impact the weather, President Obama and Western leaders, or naked farm girls in India? I want to see a vote right now. But this is the absurd level. This is where we are right now in climate science, where we actually think politicians can do it. My favorite quote, Richard Lindzen, ordinary people see through man-made climate fears, but educated people are very vulnerable. Now, just more climate astrology. Obama actually said this. My presidency will, quote, be the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and our planet began to heal. You ready? Hallelujah! No joke. Global sea level, July, just 8 months into office, flattening a downward trend. And July 22nd, sea level, he did it. Obama called it. He did it. He's got powers and ability far beyond those of ordinary men. Hallelujah. So I'll leave you with this. How we advance. I'm showing you witch trials here from Salem witch trials. During the Salem witch trials, women accused of being witches were accused of changing the weather. Remember, this was during the Little Ice Age, so crop failures, brutal cold, much like the winter we've had here. Have we advanced? This is the Aztec priest. They encouraged people to sacrifice blood to the gods to end severe drought in 1450. Thousands have sacrificed in a few weeks' time. Blame people for the weather. Wow, does it sound like your SUV's a weather machine? You've caused this? You're causing women to become hookers in Africa? Very familiar. This was 1450. Human sacrifice. Where are the modern human sacrifices? Telling Africans they can have electricity. They can't have electricity is immoral. Gore uses more electricity in a week than 28 million gigawatts. Absolutely true stat. Because only 3 million, there's 31 million Ugandans, I think 3 million have electricity, 28 million have none. In Chad, people can't cook. Their global warming-inspired ban on charcoal leads to desperate families. Cooking is, of course, a fundamental necessity. On the other hand, climate change, every citizen must protect his environment. That's what their environmental minister said, inspired by the UN. People like living in huts made of dung are being told to sacrifice to save the planet, which isn't in danger. Kenyans were rebelling. UK grocery stores, buy local, carbon friendly. Well, they didn't like that because it was affecting their livelihood and impacting their export of food. India told the United Nations, and by the way, India is breaking away, talking about forming their own climate group independent of the UN. It's morally wrong to reduce emissions when 40% of Indians don't have access to electricity. Think about that. Obama supports limiting development. Obama, who should know better, being a champion of the poor allegedly his whole life as an activist, he is telling the World Bank, don't fund coal-fired plants in developing countries due to global warming fears. Again, the only way these people can get out of poverty is through coal-fired power plants and carbon-based energy. This is one of my the cartoonists, actually Tim Kelly of CNS News. It's a little bit hard-hitting, but this is it. Al Gore talking to a dying baby. Your carbon-light lifestyle is an inspiration. That's the perversion. We can talk about how global warming will cause energy prices here, but that's the morality. When Al Gore says it's a moral issue, it is a moral issue. There it is, right there. Finally, carbon-based economy is one of the greatest liberators of mankind in the history of our planet. Let's not demonize CO2. It's not pollution. Let's laugh at Barbara Boxer the next time she claims it is pollution. Life used to be nasty, brutish, and short, and still is for 1.6 billion people without running water and electricity. They need carbon-based energy. And if we were facing a climate crisis and the proposal of the UN and Congress were only hope, we would literally all be doomed. Because if you look at what the UN proposes and what Congress proposes, they wouldn't even impact global temperature. Assuming they were right on the science, in the case of the congressional bill, it won't even impact global CO2 levels, according to Obama. It's a giant con. That's what they've been selling us. They've been exposed. We should be laughing, celebrating, popping champagne corks as the United Nations is an utter free fall. But we have to keep our keep fighting them now, because now they're going to try to regroup and come back. It's either going to be a new eco scare or they're going to claim some natural disaster. If we have another hurricane hit us, Al Gore is going to jump out of the woodwork and say the deniers were wrong. Look, it's bad. But again, I just want to end here by thanking Accuracy in Media, thanking everyone here who made it possible. I appreciate this award. And